hey everyone. Happy holidays to you all. It's kind of hard to believe that we're already at the end of another year. And so I was thinking, what game could I play that's at least relatively related to this season? Then it hit me. M&M's Adventure for the Nintendo Wii. You know, I think most people are familiar with the M&M's commercial that comes out this time of year, the Christmas one. And M&M's are used in all sorts of things like cookies, brownies, and stuff, so I think it's rather fitting to play M&M's Adventure.
M&M's Adventure was developed in 2008 by Nikotova Games and was published by Zoo Games. And considering what they've developed in the past, I'm sure that nothing wrong could possibly happen.
Well, let's plug this sucker in and see how it plays. Alright.
So the game starts with a scene of the M&Ms getting ready for Christmas. What a wonderful coincidence, so am I. The voice acting in this is, well,
from you two, and it's holiday time.
They aren't that good.
Yeah, I cleaned up good. I can't wait to get home and put out my stocking for Santa.
Okay, folks, I'll just set the alarms and we can get out of here.
No, scratch that. Pretty bad. I mean, they sound pretty close to what they're supposed to be, but the delivery is garbage. Moving on, apparently the machines are all going haywire and ejected 120 M&Ms around the factory, and it's your job to find them all. Interesting premise.
Which is funny because the back of the case says that they're only missing one packet for the delivery truck.
Wouldn't an easy solution to this be just to send someone to a store and buy a packet of candy and then just throw it onto the truck? Or better yet, just give the buyer a discount for your company's fuck-up.
Yeah, Mars Inc. Take some responsibility for your terrible candy production. You don't need to make a whole game in order to prove that point.
Anyway, let's start finding these candies, I guess, and oh no. Why does Red move so slowly? And the jumping. Ugh. So let's go over the basics. Move and jump and collect things. Sounds simple, right? Well, maybe too simple. What you gotta do is go to each sector of the factory and find the candies. So it's not so much an M&M's adventure as it is an M&M's factory tour. Each sector represents a different holiday: Valentine's Day, Easter, 4th of July, Halloween, and of course, Christmas.
Because if M&M's want nothing else, it's to market to every holiday they can in order to make the most money, right?
So in essence, this isn't a Christmas game anymore, but a holiday game you can play any time of the year.
Just like Christmas, you could celebrate it any time of year. Isn't that right, Simba?
But that's not what we want to see, right? No one wants to see me play a shovelware game and enjoy it. No. You've all come here to see me tear this game to pieces. Probably.
So here's a long list of everything that I hate about this game.
I hate the characters in this game. There's only Red M&M, Yellow M&M, and Miss Green M&M. I hate how slow they all are, and they control like a truck with flat tires. The main difference between them, besides their colors, is 1. Red has these wings that you can access via these panels, but flying is awful because you can't turn on a dime, and if you hit anything, you lose 2 health. You also tumble down, which can be disastrous. 2. Yellow can double jump. Now, you'd think that would provide you with some much needed control, right? Well, that's where you're wrong, because the double jump only activates when Yellow is still going up. Think you can activate it at the peak of his height? Ha! That requires competent programming. 3. Green is the only one that has some sort of an attack. She can get a tennis racket by, again, stepping on a pad, and then you can swing it by,
what buttons do you press? Here, maybe the manual has something on here.
Ah, here it is. By pressing plus and minus. Wait, what?
These are literally the last buttons I would ever think to use in this situation. Which is kind of funny because this big button, the B button on the Wiimote, isn't used at all in the entire game. What kind of masochist programmed it that way?
And then, the attacks don't even work on most enemies. You primarily use it to deflect cannonballs to open gates or lower lasers. Weird how they fall like that, but I don't think that's how lasers work. And then against these fucking little flyer guys, you bat them away from you and it doesn't even kill them. Next, let's talk enemies. I hate all the enemies in this game. There's these robots that remind me of the flinging robots in Super Mario 64, except all they do is run at you and hit you. Then there are these robots that chase you and make the most obnoxious sound ever doing so. And then, of course, these flying fuckers. These little smirking bastards make the birds from Ninja Gaiden look like child's play. They fly right at you, and then less than 2 seconds later, they attack again. And just forget it if you come across a swarm of them, you're most definitely going to die.
But one of the most egregious things about all of this is, there is absolutely no... Let me reiterate this. There is absolutely no post-hit invincibility in this game. None whatsoever.
For those of you not familiar with what I mean, imagine a classic game like Ninja Gaiden or heck, even Super Mario Bros. If you get hit, you get a brief reprieve where you can hopefully live to recover from your mistake. You flash a bit or shrink in size, but enemies can't touch you for this brief period of time. Not in this game. The game decided that if you mess up, then you're fucked. Plain and simple. Any mistake is met with maximum penalty. You can slip and fall into the water and lose all your health. You can get stunned by enemies, and before the game lets you react, you're attacked again, stunning you once more. It's extremely brutal.
Okay, just let me digress before I lose my mind. Because that's what the music is for!
Literally every song in this game is about a 4-measure loop that plays over and over and over. You get blessed with such amazing hits as M&M's HQ. And Valentine's Land. And how about Easter? But my favorites have got to be the 4th of July and Christmas. Christmas is just a generic loop of Deck the Halls and then Jingle Bells, but you might not realize it because there's so much garbage playing over it, and 4th of July is just some weird jazzy version of Yankee Doodle, with a really dissonant wrong note thrown in. I cringe every time it plays that part. And then, let's talk sound effects. They really scrape the bottom of the barrel with these choices. Every time you pick up a coin, it's a stab to your ears. It's so shrill and clashes with all the other sounds, and then the jump makes me angry. I would honestly listen to Mario pans and wheeze on every jump he makes. Or hell, you know what? I'd rather listen to Kazooie's talent trot for 10 hours than be subject to this anymore. And then, how about these dynamite boxes? What would you expect them to sound like? An explosion, right? Well, how about... Yeah, just a pile of Lincoln Logs being dropped.
And how about bugs? There's gotta be a bunch of bugs in this shovelware game.
Most of the bugs I found happen to Miss Green. Like when you jump, her racket clips through her head. Or sometimes, maybe even most times, after you attack, you get stuck in place and can't even move. And then there's graphical glitches galore, like clipping through objects or something like that. Sometimes the sound will cut out, which is nice actually.
But don't let that one nice thing I said make you think that the game is even passable.
The collectibles are a joke. The only things are coins, M&Ms, and the occasional power-up. The coins, like I said, make a terrible sound, and collecting 100 of them gives a free life. But that's only for the sector. Once you beat an area, the lives default back to 3. And then whoever designed the denominations of these coins is quite frankly an idiot. Who designs currency to have gold be worth the least and copper the most? It's mind-boggling. Next, let's go over the M&Ms you'll find. They are the main goals. Find them all and leave. That's it. But can someone tell me why all the M&Ms are green? And only green? If I recall, I'm pretty sure there's other colors in green, like red and yellow, blue maybe, orange, brown, even those rare purple ones, and the $1 million silver M&M.
Don't you even dare forget about the coveted light brown M&Ms.
I don't know, maybe they just have hard-ons for Miss Green or something. Each M&M has her own M&Ms to find throughout the sector, which is fine I guess, but there doesn't seem to be much reason for some of them to go to a level than to play it through. There's cases where Yellow has to go through levels where he gets no candies, and then to make things interesting, I guess, Miss Green is on an 8-minute time limit. And if you lose all your lives or run out of time, you don't get any of the candies you've collected, which means you gotta start over. And then the power-ups, or as I like to call them, the useless things that make no noticeable difference to the game ups. They appear in dumb places that require you to put yourself in major risk to get, and then they only last for like 5 seconds. I don't think I found one that helped in any way. I'd go over what each one does, but like the power-ups themselves, that would be a waste of time. How about the bosses? Are they at least fun? Short answer, no. Long answer, no. The first boss is Cupid, who flies around at a snail's pace waiting for you to step on a button to shock him. Next is the Easter Bunny, whom you have to feed, and then Uncle Sam, which you need to lead him into green toxic waste or something.
Yes, I know it's candy coating, but my statement still stands.
Next is a jack-o'-lantern that you blow up with dynamite. And finally, Frosty, the outlier. You have to traverse an obstacle course while he throws snowballs at you and hit buttons. And the floor is like hot chocolate or something. It's like if you take Super Mario 64's Lethal Lava Land, but the whole time Bowser is in the middle of the map constantly spitting fire at you. You gotta keep moving no matter what. And there's a lot of waiting in this battle because the platforms and stuff move so slowly. You're just waiting for death to take you.
Do you remember when I reviewed Drake and the 99 Dragons? Well, this game has something extremely similar to the Serene Garden.
You know, the part where if you die, you get sent to the Serene Garden for a cooldown and then you get sent back to the game? Yeah, that part. Only here, it takes the game literally like 30 seconds to load and reload the level. And it happens every time you die. And remember, this game likes to punish you severely for any mistakes with near instant death. And then, not to mention that the later levels have an inordinate amount of platforming that where if a jump isn't timed correctly, you are dead, simply because recovery is not an option. And that's another thing I hate about this game. The first 2 sectors are simple and easy. They flat out tell you where all the M&Ms are, and it's like those were designed for babies. I was getting really bored playing those levels, honestly, but then the experience really soured up when the 4th of July sector happened. All of a sudden, platforming becomes important, and hazards increase, but I pushed through with it. Even when I found these freaky green clones in tanks for some reason, I pushed on. The Halloween sector was where I first thought about quitting. I simply couldn't cope with all these pushers and moving platforms. But after a while, I figured out the patterns and where all the bullshit happens, and I made it through. But Christmas? You know what? Fuck Christmas.
What? You know I'm right. Yeah, I mean, in the game. But you know what? Fuck Christmas too because of this game.
That sector isn't a game level. It's a psychological stress test that only the strongest-willed gamers can withstand. Now let's go back to Ninja Gaiden for a moment. Imagine playing it where if you played it perfectly, that there's a strong chance that the game will mess up and kill you. Or a random enemy will pop out of nowhere where it isn't supposed to be. That's this game, but there's no happy ending for you here. All that's promised to you is that you get that last packet of M&Ms to the truck, and you could go home and have a merry fucking Christmas finally. It's no longer a game. It's a trial of thought and will. And if you mess up, you start the whole week over again from the beginning with no extra pay. And then when you finally succeed, you do it all over again with very slight differences and torture yourself some more.
Well, I'm not gonna do it anymore. I got to the final boss, and I failed. Twice. It would be masochistic for me to do it more than twice.
To me, I think one of the biggest game-breaking issues is the no post-hit invincibility. If that were fixed, then the game might be able to be beaten. But since it's not, I pity the gamer who thinks that they could beat this game easily.
In fact, I'm reasonably certain that I've played the farthest of anyone who's ever bothered to play this game.
There are no walkthroughs, barely any Let's Plays, and absolutely nothing on cheats for this game. And that should tell you something about this game right there.
And I can't blame anyone who's given up on this game, especially since I'm giving up. And because of this game, I've developed an irrational hatred for M&Ms. So please, oh please, oh please, make it your Christmas gift to me to never play this game. Under any circumstances, just stay away from it. It is quite possibly the worst game I have ever played. Worse than Drake of the 99 Dragons even. So happy holidays to all of you. Be safe out there.